Marilyn Monroe reached the top. What was she still trying to find? The Netflix documentary, The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, The Unheard Tapes, directed by Emma Cooper, returns to the life and mysterious death of one of the most recognizable women in history. Through recorded interviews with Marilyn's friends, colleagues, photographers, doctors, investigators, and members of her inner circle, journalist Anthony Summers attempts to reconstruct what happened during the final years, hours, and minutes of her life. Was Marilyn Monroe murdered? Did she intentionally take her own life? Was her fatal overdose accidental? Were details surrounding her death concealed because of her relationships with John and Robert Kennedy? Those questions drive the documentary, but underneath the mystery of how Marilyn Monroe died, another mystery is sitting in plain sight. How did she live? How did a woman become one of the most famous faces in the world, marry celebrated men, enter the private circle of the President and Attorney General of the United States, and still believe that something essential was missing? The documentary follows Marilyn Monroe, but Marilyn Monroe was not making the decisions alone. Marilyn Monroe appeared on the screen. Norma Jeane was running the projector. The world saw platinum hair, red lips, a breathless voice, and a white dress rising above a subway grate. The world saw beauty, desire, fame, success. But behind the face everybody recognized, another identity was interpreting every scene: Norma Jeane. Marilyn Monroe received the applause. Norma Jeane decided what the applause meant. Marilyn Monroe appeared on magazine covers. Norma Jeane decided whether the photographs proved she was beautiful. Marilyn Monroe was desired by millions. Norma Jeane decided whether their desire proved she was lovable. Marilyn Monroe became one of the most famous women in the world. Norma Jeane decided whether fame proved she was somebody. The world kept looking at the screen, but the decisions were being made in the projection room. As a young girl, Norma Jeane sat near the front of a movie theater and imagined how wonderful it would be to become an actress. She wanted to know. She wanted to be a good actress. She wanted to be seen. She wanted to be recognized. She wanted to become somebody the world could no longer overlook. Then the world saw her. The world recognized her. The world elevated her. The world turned her face into an icon. And the frightened identity operating behind that face remained untouched. Fame had been assigned a job. Save me. Tell me who I am. Make me valuable. Make me unforgettable. Make it impossible for anyone to abandon me again. Then fame arrived, and it could not perform the function Norma Jeane had assigned to it. Fame could enlarge the image. It could not heal the identity projecting it. So the next scene began. Joe DiMaggio entered. He was not merely a man. He became another possible answer. A celebrated athlete, an American hero, a man recognized everywhere. If such a man chose Marilyn Monroe, perhaps his choice could prove that Norma Jeane was finally worth choosing. But the marriage could not provide what fame had failed to provide. The object changed. The assignment remained. Save me. Tell me I am safe. Tell me I cannot be discarded. Tell me your desire will remain forever. When Joe DiMaggio could not complete her, the projector kept rolling. Arthur Miller entered the next scene. A different kind of power. The intellectual, the playwright, the serious man who might see beyond the photographs. Perhaps he would not merely desire Marilyn Monroe. Perhaps he would understand Norma Jeane. Their wedding attracted enormous attention. It was presented as a new beginning. Arthur gave her a ring inscribed, "Now it's forever." Marilyn wrote on the back of a wedding photograph, "Hope, hope." Forever was engraved on the ring. Hope was still operating in her mind. Why would forever require hope if forever had already arrived? Because the ring could announce permanence. It could not produce it. The marriage could create a wife. It could not create wholeness. Then Marilyn found notes Arthur Miller had written. He wrote of his disappointment. He had imagined that she was an angel. Then he discovered that she was a flawed woman. He had created an image of perfection, married the woman onto whom he had projected it, then became disappointed when the woman failed to remain the image he had made. He also used a word Marilyn would remember and repeat: whore. Arthur Miller did not place that identity inside her mind. The word found a belief already waiting for evidence. Had the belief been absent, the word would have remained marks on paper. But Norma Jeane called the word into the projection room, stopped the film, enlarged the frame, and announced, "There it is. Somebody else finally sees what has always been true." Arthur's note became evidence in a case Norma Jeane was already prosecuting against herself. The word did not testify. The paper did not testify. Arthur's disappointment did not establish her identity, but the belief inside her used all three as witnesses. Then another possible savior arrived: the baby. If stardom could not give her belonging, if marriage could not give her permanence, perhaps motherhood could. Marilyn wanted a child. Those close to her said that if she had been offered a choice between children and a starring role, she would have chosen children. She described a photograph taken while she was pregnant as belonging to her happiest period. The baby was innocent, but the baby was handed an impossible script. Give me a family, give me someone who will need me, give me a place where I belong, give me the permanence that applause, husbands, and fame could not provide. Then the pregnancy ended, and it appeared that salvation had arrived and been taken away. But salvation had never entered through the pregnancy, therefore it could not leave through the miscarriage. The projector continued, the film changed, the search remained. Then came the Kennedys, the tippity-tippy top. Marilyn Monroe did not choose obscure witnesses to testify to her value. She chose the most powerful symbols the world could offer. Hollywood had already testified. Fame had testified. Beauty had testified. Joe DiMaggio had testified. Arthur Miller had testified. Marriage had testified. Now political power entered the picture. John F. Kennedy, President of the United States. Robert Kennedy, Attorney General of the United States. If proximity to a powerful man could establish her value, how much more powerful did the man need to become? If being desired could produce love, how much more desirable did Marilyn need to be? If access could produce importance, what room remained above the White House? Marilyn had reached the summit. But Norma Jeane carried the same assignment to the top. Save me, choose me, keep choosing me. Make your attention mean that I matter. Make your power prove that I possess value. The men could call her, visit her, desire her, invite her into rooms most people could never enter. They could not tell her what she was. Then the relationships became inconvenient. The attention changed, the calls changed, the access changed. The instruction reportedly came, do not call, do not make contact again. The same woman who appeared desirable when powerful men wanted her now appeared disposable when they withdrew. Same face, same body, same woman, different interpretation. Marilyn reportedly said she felt passed around, used like a piece of meat. But the body had never testified. The body never called itself beautiful. The body never called itself a whore. The body never announced that it had been used. The body never decided that a telephone call created value. The body never decided that silence removed value. The body stood on the screen while Norma Jeane interpreted what every man's attention meant. When they wanted the body, she believed she was wanted. When they withdrew from the body, she believed she had been rejected. When they treated the body as an object, she believed she had become an object. The projector supplied the meaning. Then the screen was accused of causing the pain. That is how Marilyn Monroe could possess nearly everything young women are still taught to pursue: beauty, visibility, virality, famous husbands, powerful lovers, money, access, worldwide recognition, and still believe something essential was missing. Every achievement became another scene promising that the answer would appear in the next frame, the next role, the next photograph, the next marriage, the next pregnancy, the next man, the next telephone call, the next expression of desire. Something outside of her was always approaching with salvation, and something outside of her was always leaving with it. The world called Marilyn Monroe an icon, but an icon is an image. An image cannot answer the question of identity. The image can be praised, desire can be projected upon it, money can be exchanged for access to it, crowds can gather around it, men can compete for it, studios can insure it, governments can monitor it, the press can pursue it.
But the image cannot tell the mind what it is. Marilyn's hairdresser placed the entire case into one sentence: Monroe had problems with Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was having problems with Marilyn Monroe. The projected identity was fighting the identity operating the projector. The woman had to awaken as Marilyn, dress as Marilyn, speak as Marilyn, smile as Marilyn, perform as Marilyn, be photographed as Marilyn, be desired as Marilyn, then use pills to sleep after carrying Marilyn through another day. Uppers helped start the performance, downers helped stop it. Sleeping pills tried to quiet the projection room, but silencing the projector temporarily could not correct what it had been projecting. Marilyn Monroe went viral before social media existed. The world repeated her image until the image appeared more real than the woman. Everybody knew Marilyn. Everybody recognized Marilyn. Everybody wanted Marilyn. But every additional eye looking at Marilyn gave Norma Jeane another witness whose reaction had to be interpreted. More attention did not end the search. It multiplied the evidence being used to continue it. One compliment could lift the image. One word could condemn it. One man's desire could establish it. One man's silence could erase it. One pregnancy could promise salvation. One miscarriage could appear to remove it. One telephone call could create importance. One command never to call again could appear to annihilate it. The world believed Marilyn Monroe had reached the top. But the top was only another scene. There was no answer waiting there, only a larger screen, brighter lights, more witnesses, and the same Norma Jeane behind the projector, asking the world to show her something the world had never possessed. The official finding surrounding her death was probable suicide following a fatal overdose. The documentary presents conflicting timelines, missing hours, reports of an ambulance, claims about Robert Kennedy's whereabouts, and evidence that details may have been concealed because of Marilyn's relationships with the Kennedy brothers. Its investigation does not establish that Marilyn Monroe was murdered. It suggests that the circumstances surrounding her death may have been deliberately covered up. But none of those mysteries changes the fact sitting directly on the screen. One of the most recognizable women who ever lived could not find herself in being recognized. One of the most desired women who ever lived could not find love in being desired. A woman who reached the summit of fame continued searching, as though the summit contained something she had left behind. The documentary closes where the search began. A young girl sitting near the front of a movie theater, watching the screen, imagining how wonderful it would be to become an actress, wanting to know, wanting to be a good actress. She eventually appeared on that enormous screen. The whole world watched her. But the performance did not end when the director called cut. Marilyn Monroe remained on the screen. Norma Jeane remained in the projection room.
One became the face everybody recognized. The other continued assigning meaning to every scene. And if Marilyn Monroe was the face everybody recognized, why was Norma Jeane the one making every decision?